and then we'll begin the rest of the presentation here today. So good morning, my name is Daniel Cho. I'm one of the managers here over the policy and strategy group in the Office of Procurement, and I'm super excited to just be here with all of you today. And thank you all for spending just a part of your day with us. And hopefully through this presentation, we can hopefully help at least clarify some of the contracting as well as or contracting requirements and maybe some tips and tricks on ramp, which we'll get to in the agenda. But I'm personally very excited to have all of you here today. So with that said, I will turn it over to Monica for her for an introduction, and then we'll get into the agenda right after that. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. So sorry, I'm going to move the slides here. So just as an introduction, Daniel mentioned, my name is Monica Aquino, and I'm a management analyst at the Office of Procurement. And I work with Daniel in the policy and strategy unit. And as he mentioned, we've been working with a lot of small business initiatives and a lot of business inclusion. So our goal as the Office of Procurement for Citywide Procurement is to show you and showcase the main themes of what to expect when you participate in bidding and contracting as a small business owner. And the main theme for this webinar and the overarching thing for the series that we're looking to launch is that how our office and the City of LA is looking to provide more accessible opportunities to you as a small business owner. And this webinar will sort of act as a collective resource guide in a single space. So this is a pilot program. The first 6 sessions are going to kind of go through a lot of the overview, not comprehensive by any means, but just to provide you as much information, resources as we can within the City of LA for Office of Procurement. And we are going to, push for a more robust program for a program focusing on small business and business inclusion initiatives for the business community as well. So just look out for that. We are hoping to, get this off the ground in terms of providing more resources to you from the City of LA as well. But thank you all for joining us here, and we'll get started here with the agenda. So again, we are going to go through a citywide procurement overview. It's not going to be, as much detailed as we can because it is going to be, recorded and short webinar, but to give you as much information as we can as a small business owner and what to expect, participating and bidding with the city. At this point, we're not going to advise on how to obtain a contract because we still are a municipality and we do have the review process and initiatives that we have to set forth, but rather how to be ready as a small business owner to participate in bidding. So we do want to be transparent in this process, give you some ramp tips and demo on the NICS codes. So that includes the industry search and what are NICS codes and how to use them to your advantage. And how to prepare your business for contracting with the city. So that will include compliance and contract documents and additional resources. So again, the recording will be available after the webinar, but you will also have the resources that we'll mention throughout the training. We will have them linked here throughout the presentation. And then just know that you will have a file for resourcing just to see all of the documents that we put in there for your reference as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Monica. And just one more housekeeping reminder for everyone. If you could please keep yourselves on mute and off video if you'd like, or on video if you would like, but just to keep yourselves on mute for now. We will be taking questions through the chat if we do have time permitting, as well as we do have a section of this presentation actually portioned off for question and answer as well. But if we do not get to your questions today, we will compile all of the questions through the chat function, and then we will post this in the resources tab with the answers there as well. So and we'll get into the presentation. So yeah, the Office of Procurement, we are the Office of Procurement. If we can go to the next slide, as the Office of Procurement, we are the agency in the city of Los Angeles that is responsible for oversight of the policy, process, and technology of the city's $4.5+ billion spend and on an annual basis. Our Chief Procurement Officer, who is the leader of this initiative, is Shannon Hoppes, who has been working on this actually for the last 10 years. And it's been, I've been here for the last 5, and it's been such an amazing journey just seeing how the city is really trying to focus as well as build a, procurement operation that is excellent. And, funny enough, our office is passionate about two things: one, procurement, and then two, operational excellence is actually a huge, a huge drive for us. We want things to work very well. And, that is actually one of the common, things that we've heard as feedback from the small business community. It's hard to find information. It's a difficult, onerous process. We as an office are really trying to hone in on those issues and really smooth out and hopefully make the contracting procurement process just more accessible, as well as, just easier for everybody. And so that includes the small business community, which we are, really passionate about as well. So we as an office actually just were officially created in the Los Angeles Administrative Code in January 2023. And this was I guess you can say this was a culmination of procurement reformation efforts started by the Garcetti administration in 2013, I believe. So it's been about 10 years since this process has kind of taken place, and we're finally seeing some of the culmination of the fruits of the labor from way back then. So once again, the Office of Procurement we're not composed of buyers by any means, but we do once again look at the policy, process, and technology, as well as the training of city staff. And as Monica mentioned earlier, we want to take also an external focus for our business community as well. And this is kind of one of the first steps into that space. And we are looking to create a budget request to kind of expand the Office of Procurement so that we can have a Office of Inclusion and Contractor Relations, so that we can really focus on our outreach, our inclusion policies, as well as how are we doing in terms of our business practices for the City of LA in procurement. Can we make it better? Can we actually make sure that it's not necessarily difficult, but open for everybody? So with that, we'll go to the next slide. So I hope you are all aware of the RAMP platform, which is the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. RAMP is the official solicitation portal and website for the City of LA and its regional partners. And as you see here with all of the logos, not only does it hold the City of Los Angeles's procurements, but it also holds agencies procurements such as the Olympics, these or private sectors such as City of Hope, Cedars-Sinai, AEG, City National Bank, as well as other public sector organizations such as LAUSD, Port of Long Beach Transit, City of Long Beach, all Long Beach, but as well as HACLA, and we're continually adding more people or more agencies, I should say, to the platform. So a couple of things that as a small business owner that you can do on RAMP is: one, receive notifications of future opportunities. RAMP is the solicitation portal for the agencies listed here. In addition to that, you can actually research previous RFPs, requests for proposals. And so we'll get into a bit of the tips and tricks down the line, but once again, it's a fantastic resource for you as a small business to really see what previous opportunities were. Do you fit them? Maybe not. Can you prepare for it? Can you change your business to grow and expand into these areas to meet the needs of government and our regional partners? And ultimately, another part of RAMP as well is networking. We built RAMP with the idea of really gathering all of the regional procurements into a single space so that we can help the small business community as well as the private sector in seeing all of the procurement, the billions, if not potentially even trillions of dollars of procurement in the next 5 to 10 years in a easy to find location. And with that said, we have the Olympics on here. We will kind of start ramping up as we head to 2028 in terms of, other opportunities there, as well as other regional partners will be posting more and more opportunities. So please register, please get on there and, create your business profile, as well as you can get certified, which we will touch upon, but we will have a deep dive session in the future as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Monica.
Thanks, Daniel. So we'll get into the section of citywide procurement overview. Again, not too detailed, but just to give you a sense and some insight into how the City of LA is structured, how we're set up to process procurements, and how we're set up to authorize contracting and whatnot, and what that looks like. So city at a glance. So just know that the city does maintain a $13 billion budget on average. So that is going to be a huge pool of money, not just for the salaries, but procurement is going to be second to salaries in this budget. So we have a lot to spend in terms of the different programs, the different projects we have going on, especially with the different departments. And there's a big chunk of that we do want to give to small business owners as well to build, diversity, equity, and inclusion as our main goals, being a diverse city of Los Angeles. So you can see here 44 plus departments and bureaus in the city of Los Angeles, and that's always growing. It's always growing based on the community needs, always growing based on constituent needs. We're always expanding in terms of the services and the departments within the city of LA. So there's just a sample of some department logos and some listed departments here, but this is just to show you that we do have a wide array of goods and services that we want to procure and purchase. And these departments do have their own budget and procurement needs based on their own operation. So as a small business owner, as a vendor out there, chances are that we are looking to purchase, what you can provide as a good or service. And then another portion of the city does also include the proprietary departments. So we just want to make sure we include that when we mention the city of LA as well. Obviously, they are going to be separate from the city in terms of how they manage their budget. So just to give you an idea, they still have a substantial amount for procurement and purchasing, a large pool of money as well. They do have their larger projects, but they do control their own budget and sources of funding as a proprietary department. So the ones we have here are Department of Water and Power, Los Angeles World Airports, and the harbor, also known as Port of Los Angeles. And we did link here their small business programs that they maintain as part of their proprietary departments, as part of their small business goals and initiatives. So feel free to take a look at that. That's for your reference afterwards for the webinar. They have a good amount of information there, and hopefully in the future we can do a deep dive on the proprietary departments and how they are including business inclusion and small business initiatives to create these opportunities that are more accessible to the community.
Next slide. So I think what we'll do right now is just go over the 3 types of procurement within the city of Los Angeles. We will also leave some, some examples of procurements, as well as we'll be distributing a resource folder that actually has PDF versions of RFPs for the different types of procurement as well. So please be on the lookout for that in a follow-up email. But the first type of procurement or procurement type is commodities. And so in short, commodities are the goods, the tangible materials, the things that you can essentially purchase, as a physical need. So it's equipment, it's materials and supplies, it's, once again, asphalt or pencils, you name it physically, and the city, needs it, we'll probably purchase it. And so the commodities portion of procurement is handled by our general services division or department, and which oversees commodities and the physical purchasing as well. And so a couple additional examples of commodities purchasing would be lumber, industrial metals, drilling tools, and I believe golf balls, or it's going back to Monica's slide about the city as 44 plus departments. We have a wide array of needs. So one other thing I wanted to call to your attention today is that although the solicitations for commodities, for those physical goods, are on RAMP, in order to actually bid on an opportunity and actually participate, the General Services Department has something called the Los Angeles Vendor Self-Service Portal, which is LAVSS for short, and we've went ahead and we linked the website below. And if you are a commodities provider or vendor, please do register there as well, in addition to registering on RAMP. That is where you'll be bidding for those opportunities. Can we go to the next slide, Monica? Thank you. The second type for those in this space today is construction. This is basically, the building, the building of buildings, or the alteration, demolition, anything related to the construction space. That is our construction spend. It's mostly kind of centralized within our Department of Public Works. However, there are other city departments that do have construction opportunities such as GSD, Recreation and Parks, Library, DOT, LAPD, kind of just to name a few. And so, yeah, it's actually the second largest spend in our second largest procurement category spend. And we'll talk about personal services next. But yeah, this space is actually an excellent opportunity for the small business community, especially if you're a subcontractor looking to kind of bite your teeth on city opportunities. You can use RAMP once again to see who the prime contractors are, who the agencies are that have actually won these bids, and reach out to them. Use it as, once again, a networking tool. So a couple of examples of construction projects. We have the sidewalk repair program, which is from the Bureau of Engineering. It's a fantastic program that actually kind of devised and tries to unbundle this $30 billion construction / concrete project over 30 years. And yeah, it's done there. But just as an example, we'll get into a construction more webinar focused event later. But yeah, a couple other examples. We have roofing. We just built the bridge, the 6th Street Bridge. That's one of the other ones. The Hyperion water treatment facility. There's always construction going there. So all to say, the city does really build from large to small. And if you are a small business that is in this space, please do register for RAMP and get notified of the upcoming construction opportunities as well. Next slide. And finally, we have our professional services contracts, which are for professional, scientific, expert, technical, or other special services of a temporary and occasional nature that are performed by independent contractors. And so with that said, this is actually the largest category of spend that the city has now. It is to the point of, if you actually do offer, some of these things in terms of, services, or you do, for example, like architecture. And I think the next slide will actually get into, if you can actually move to the next slide, some examples of professional services. So off the top, we have business consultants, translation and interpretation, economic analysis, educational programs, fiscal agents, mural paintings, and event planning. And so it's this is by no means a exhaustive list, but just an example of what some of our professional service opportunities are. And this really is an opportunity for you as a small business to partner with city departments in working with them in actually, helping their operations, and actually doing business with the city actually is helping, members of the public as well, because we need your services that you offer, and it helps. It's great. So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll move to the next slide, and I'll hand it over to Monica.
Thanks, Daniel. So as Daniel went over the types of procurement that we purchase, we'll go over just quickly the types of procurement within the solicitation process and what that means. So you'll see these acronyms, floating around: RFI, RFP. What does that actually mean in terms of the solicitation that the department or the awarding authority is putting out on RAMP, and what they're advertising and what they're looking for? So essentially, the type of solicitation is going to tell you what the city is expecting or asking for when they advertise these things on RAMP, and when you register on RAMP and you see these types of solicitations. So just to go down the list, we have requests for information or request for interest, also known as a RFI. So this solicitation is going to essentially inform how the department is going to contract out in the future. It's one of those that doesn't result in a contract or an award, but rather the department is usually looking for more information to refine the scope, or maybe look for certain requirements to build out the scope for a future or potential RFP. And it's mostly, again, just helping the department in developing something for a more complete RFP or contracting in the future. And request for bid, this is going to be based on the price. Lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder is per our charter and ordinance requirements. You do see this most commonly used in the construction commodity space. But again, that's not to say it's not used in personal services and all types of procurement, but that is most commonly used in construction and commodities. And request for proposals, this is probably the one you're more familiar with or you hear most in this procurement industry. Request for proposals usually results in, a contractor award or multiple awards depending on the department's scope of service and what their main goal is in their procurement strategy. But overall cost is one of the selection criteria on top of other components. So it could also include ones listed here: past performance, specific qualifications, past experience, technical requirements. So it does vary, and based on the, again, procurement goals of the department or awarding authority, they will see fit how to use their request for proposals and how to specify their scope of service. And then just to continue, requests for qualifications and task order solicitation. Sometimes you see these go hand in hand in terms of the procurement space, but for the most part, request for qualifications is going to be a solicitation in which the proposer is evaluated on something other than cost. And then that list is shortlisted, or there's a bench that is created based on those qualifications to decide either who will be invited to a future RFB or RFP process, or who will be able to respond to a subsequent task order solicitation. And in terms of task order solicitation or TOS, they are usually smaller projects that don't warrant the effort of a standalone procurement or a full contract, or maybe similar projects within a larger program. So again, you typically see this in construction, but it could also be used as a strategy for commodities or personal services, just depending on what the department needs. But essentially, an RFQ creates a pre-qualified on-call contract. Once that's executed, one or more of the pre-qualified firms are later issued a task order for a specific project in the future. And also this again creates the on-call bench, and most departments either create the task order or they have a rotational list that they go through. And again, this is what you see mostly in construction. But otherwise, these on-call contracts can be used when the work that comes up in ad hoc nature or on call, depending on their scope of service, again, based on if they have smaller projects that lend to a bigger program, whatever the case is for that department. And just for your information, when we do include the resource file, there are going to be examples of all of these types of procurements, just that we pulled from our RAMP system, just to give you an example of what those different types look like. So feel free to look for that when we do send out and distribute the materials, as you can reference that and just take a look at what it actually looks like when it's advertised on RAMP, and what to look for when they show the scope of services and requirements and all that. Okay, and these are just going to be examples of past or current contracting opportunities. So you could see here there are a wide range. They are going to be linked here too on RAMP, but just to give you an example, everything from graffiti removal and beautification. Daniel mentioned golf balls. We have purchased golf balls in the past for whatever reason. So if you're in that space, that's definitely something you should look for, or whatever the case is for things we want to buy for goods and services. And then operation maintenance for food and beverage. That's always a big one for, entertainment within the city. And then consulting for economic impacts of minimum wage ordinances. So there is a wide range of all these goods and services. So as a small business owner, if you see that you fit in somewhere, or see if you want to expand your business somehow, and you can take a look here, click on the link here. It's going to take you to the RAMP website, and you can get information on it. Some of these are going to be past opportunities that have since closed, and some of them have been, current, and they're, still open. So if you do want to reach out to the contact info on there, that's also another good way to research, or just take a look around and see how it's set up. And when you register on RAMP, you can, get information to download that as well, download the information that's attached to it. So this, again, just more links to reference afterwards, so that you can do your research on RAMP and kind of get familiar with navigating on that. Okay, so this portion is going to be RAMP tips and tricks, and then our NICS code demo. So this is going to be more of demonstration of RAMP. So just for your information, this portion of the webinar, and the webinar overall is not going to be like a ramp registration webinar. We do have those monthly, so we invite you to participate in that. If you do want to see more of a step-by-step on how to register and build your profile, we definitely can lend to that in our monthly webinar. But this is mostly how to just navigate the opportunities page and how to navigate the search and then the NICS codes as well, and what that looks like with the census website. But moving on to this, so we also wanted to showcase the different industries that we purchase for. So you can see this is going to be a wide range of industries, everything from food services, as we mentioned, entertainment, obviously construction, transportation, administrative support, manufacturing, mining, retail trade. There's anything and everything. Obviously, this is not going to be exhaustive list, but just to give you an idea of the different services and goods and that we are looking to purchase and contract out for. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to actually stop sharing so that I can pull up the picture of the website. One moment here.
And what as Monica is doing this is, as the tip and trick, basically, or one of the tips and tricks for Ramp, this is kind of an alternative way to find opportunities that are listed now that maybe, in terms of how Ramp works, usually it is the solicitations that are sent to your email. But if you would like to take a more proactive approach, Monica will show you kind of how to do that as well.
Yeah, so here is our RAMP webpage, so rampla.org. This is the front webpage, and it's going to show you information here. If you want to search for bid opportunities on this homepage, you can as well. And if you scroll down, you'll see recent opportunities. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to go to search for opportunities on this tab, and it'll pull up a more advanced search feature. So for here, as we were speaking about industries, this is how the industries can get filtered out. You could also filter out through opportunity, name of organization or department or partner, and then just all these other filters for dates as well. But for here, we're going to go to industry. Let's say I'm in accommodation and food services. I'll click on that, and you'll see these opportunities pop up here. So it'll show you the opportunity name, the organization, mostly either the department or the RAMP partner that have posted on there, the post date and the due date. And so this automatically gets categorized chronologically. So the most recent one will pop up here, which is good, but you can also filter it out through date if you choose to do so. So you can see here a list of them, and you can also filter out for more searches and click through the tabs as well. But I also wanted to show you all what it looks like when you click on an opportunity. So let's click on this meal and catering services RFQ. It's going to show you the status and again, the posting dates and the contact info. So this is going to be from the Department of Recreation Parks. And there's an email if you do want to, send them an email. Let's say if you're an active bidder and you have questions, that's who you're going to contact. Or even if you're just researching, you can definitely reach out to them and ask them information about this RFQ, just, letting them know that you're a small business owner and you're interested in participating in the future, and if they have any forecasting, whatever the case is. So this is going to be a summary, which includes a description of the solicitation, and then any links. Of course, you're going to have to register on Ramp to download and have access to any links and documentation here. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a way to download, because you'll get this information. Please log in to download. But once you do log in, you'll be able to access all this information, which includes all the attachments that are related to this documentation. But yeah, that's what it looks like when you do log on Ramp, and it's a good way to research, as you're still waiting for an opportunity to come up or whatever the case is for your business. If you're looking to expand your business or, think about how you can network and whatnot on Ramp, definitely get familiar with this space. It's going to be a good opportunity just to get an idea of how, contracting procurement works within the city. But for now, I'm going to go back to the presentation. Okay, so moving on to NICS codes. So what actually are NICS codes? So NICS stands for North American Industry Classification System. And it's developed by the United States Census Bureau to identify industries within procurement and contracting. And it's going to be a marketing tool as well, but essentially these are going to be found on your taxes based on the service or good that you provide. And they're typically 1 to 6 digit codes. The 2-digit is more broad and based on broad industry, and then the more digits within the NICS codes, the more specific the service you are providing. And overall, it's just categorical terminology for your industry and your service. But otherwise, it's an identification of what you're providing. And a key thing to keep in mind for RAMP is that RAMP uses NICS codes to match you with these relevant opportunities. And that's how you will get notified of new opportunities that pop up that match with the work that you provide. And it's how they'll also categorize, the different solicitations and what they're seeking for based on that solicitation in that department. So NICS codes are overall, they're a good way to research for types of businesses. We do want to suggest that you utilize NICS codes, past a marketing tool or identification tool. We really want you to see if you can add appropriate NICS codes to your network. RAMP, we're going to do a short demo of adding NICS codes, but for RAMP, you can add up to 10 NICS codes. Feel free to utilize NICS codes to research other businesses, or maybe you can see if there's previous awards and what type of NICS codes they were assigned with that. Just so that more research, the better in terms of where you align as a small business and what your NICS codes would look like. Just because in the future, there are small businesses who use their NICS codes for their capability statement, a way to identify them, and in the future we may be moving towards NICS codes, I believe, as overall California state for identifying procurement and contracting. So just keep that in mind. But overall, for NICS codes, you can utilize the same work or services that can be represented with multiple NICS codes. So again, we can list up to 10 on RAMP. So just know you can expand other forms of services to get notified of more opportunities, as you build your business. But just as an example, for a person that attended a past webinar, they were kind of confused on NICS codes, and they were in the recruiting space and recruiting industry, and they weren't sure on where they would fit, just because when they searched it, it wasn't as explicit as finding a recruiting NICS code, but we were able to assist them and find some multiple NICS codes that were related to their industry. And those included employment placement agencies, human resources, consulting services, administrative management, general management consulting, and executive search services. So just know that there are ways to identify your business if it's, obviously going to be pertaining to placement agencies, but also think about the fact that you also provide customer service relations, administrative work, administrative consulting, things of that nature, so that you can more thoroughly identify yourself, identify your main services, and also identify even, smaller sub work and sub services or secondary services that you provide on the side as well. So for now, we're going to go through the demo really quick. And what we'll do is we'll go to the census.gov website that's linked on this presentation. And this is what it looks like, census.gov/NICS. And this will show you the NICS code system. If you want to read up on it, feel free to do so on here. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to go to the reference files and search the NICS. One thing to note as a disclaimer, while they are up to 2022 NICS codes, RAMP is currently operating on 2017 NICS codes. We will eventually get updated to 2022, and we'll update you when that does happen. But for the purposes of this demonstration, and currently on ramp, we're operating on 2017. So just keep that in mind. So one way to look those up is going to be this link here, 2017 NICS, and it'll pop up again with the 2-digit as the more broad category, and then it'll expand to 5 or 6 digits. So you can look through the categories here, kind of similar to the industries that we have listed on ramp, but say, for example, I'm in professional, scientific, and technical. I'll click on 54, and then it'll pop up as the more specific industries and services. So you can see here 54111, offices of lawyer, accounting, tax preparation. So feel free to look through that and see if you want to take a look in the list view here. Otherwise, another way to search is going to be through the search feature on the left-hand side here, which is going to be either to enter a keyword or the 2 to 6 digit code. So we'll go through that as well. So say, for example, I'm in management consulting. We'll search that here, and these will pop up on the main screen. So you can see administrative management, business, financial. So the list goes on and on. There's specific ones: customer service, marketing, sales. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to notate administrative management consulting services. So 541611. So I'm going to remember that number, or if if you're researching, feel free to write it down or create a spreadsheet, whatever helps you cross-reference this. So 541611 is administrative management consulting services. And we are going to go to our RAM profile. And our RAM profile here, I have logged into a test account. So obviously when you do register and log in, it's going to look different on your end. It's going to have your profile information and your business information. But again, if you do need assistance, feel free to attend our RAMP registration webinar with that. So this is what it looks like when you log in. This will have your profile details, but for here, we're going to go to NICS codes and licenses. And our NICS codes are going to pop up. So it's going to say we already have 5, and we can add up to 5 more for a total of 10. It's going to show your NICS code, a description of the NICS code, when you added it, and to edit or remove. So we'll go to add interest codes to add a NICS code, and then it'll show you this screen. So it's going to link you to the census website again if you need to reference it, but obviously we've cross-referenced it already. Your currently selected NICS codes, and then all the 2-digit codes. So on the screen, unfortunately, you can't search the way I did on the census website, but now that we did notate our NICS code that we want to add, we can just go down to the 2-digit number, which was 54. And then click on 541 for more digits. And then the next digit was 5416 under ours. And then 54161 is the one we found for management consulting services. So the one that we notated was 541611, just because that was, again, more specific to administrative management consulting. But these can range from 5 to 6 digits. So just keep that in mind when you're cross-referencing. So we're going to add 54161 management consulting and click add codes. And then it's going to show you that it's updated. So now on your profile, you added management consulting services, and then you'll be able to edit and add as you wish for there. And that's pretty much how you add NICS codes to your profile. Now that's attached to your profile when, the departments or awarding authorities are going to look and reference your profile. That's going to be there. Also, when an opportunity does come up on ramp with this NICS code, you will then be notified that the opportunity has opened up, and any notifications attached to that as well if you do want to participate.
Yeah, and just to kind of tack on a couple other things to Monica's portion on the NICS code, you want to get kind of creative once again. And sometimes just because it's in one NICS code category doesn't necessarily mean, there could be other categories that are like maybe 1 digit off that, for example, it's like a 5-4 versus a 5-3, and it's the same kind of type of consulting. So like Monica was saying, there are 10 active NICS codes that you can designate. And so please do spend some time and actually keep a list of active NICS codes that your company may be, that correspond to your company. And then as well, just as a something we've been discussing with the state of California in one of our meetings about a month or two back, is they are actually looking to incorporate NEXT codes into their DGS system as well. The state of California is looking to in addition to the UN SC codes, which we do not use, but we primarily use, once again, NEXT codes. The state of California is also looking to utilize the NEXT code system for their procurements as well. So it just helps to know what NEXT codes that you do that correlate to your business. So I'll give it back to Monica.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. So as we mentioned, when you do look up NICS codes, it's just going to say identify your business. The important takeaway is that RAMP does use the NICS codes to match you. So make sure that you're adding them to your profile as you see fit for your services. Make sure you're utilizing all of them that you can identify, because you can have up to 10. So just make sure you are paying attention to that when you register. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll have our contact information in the resources file and all of that. But yeah, NICS codes are definitely important in terms of participating in procurement and contracting. So with that, we'll go on to the next slide.
Awesome. Thank you, Monica, for that. So this part of the presentation will go over some of the documents, the contract compliance, as well as the contract requirements and documents that are necessary for doing business. And so, albeit this is, not going to be, once again, exhaustive, but we are giving you the materials to actually look through our contract compliance requirements as well as our standard provisions. And so we'll go through those documents now, just as a cursory basis. But one second, sure, I will mute you. Okay, thank you. And so, yeah, so with that said, we actually, as the Office of Procurement, have compiled a checklist of contracting requirements, and which will be attached to this presentation. And I believe the next slide, not yet, but the next slide is a picture of it. But there's actually 4 categories, and I'll go over the first 3, and I'll explain the 4th category for the contracting requirements. The first one is contract compliance documents that must be submitted with responses by all proposers. So what we've done with this checklist is we've actually organized all of your compliance requirements, if you're interested in doing business with the city, by when it is actually due in the bidding process. So the first category, once again, is it's universal. Everybody that's actually submitting a proposal or a response must put this in there. So we'll go through those forms in the next slide. But the second category is compliance documents to be completed and submitted on rampla.org. And so if you are interested in doing business with the City of LA, some of the compliance documents and disclosures are actually located in the RAMP platform. You can actually see part of that as in the registration webinar, where you can actually see, like, this is where you actually go and fill in your compliance and disclosure ordinances and your requirements there. But it is mandatory to be on RAMP to do business with the City of LA. And you will find, I believe it's about 4 disclosures that are actually in the RAMP platform. It's actually just 2 quick verifications because they're kind of bunched up, but all to say, please do get registered on RAMP and fill your disclosure ordinances there. And then finally, the last category, at least in terms of action to be taken by the vendor, is required documents prior to the award of contracts. So these are not necessarily to be submitted at the time of proposal. However, if you are qualified or you are selected to be the contractor, you must actually submit these documentations as a part of your contract. And so it's required at the time of contracting, when the department is kind of finalizing the contract, as well as making sure that you have everything in your package. That will be required then at that point. So if we can go to the next slide. And once again, just a reminder, it's a bit small here, but we will be distributing this form, this checklist, to all of you for attending today. Please do actually go through each of these forms and just see what is required. A lot of times there's signatures. Sometimes they'll actually ask you for more information in terms of your contracting history, whether it's disclosures, and if you've done business with Iran, or there's all sorts of, compliance document requirements. So please do prepare for contracting with the city by going through this document, going through the attached forms and making sure that you are aware of what is necessary for contract compliance requirements for the city of Los Angeles. So we do recommend that you kind of do practice more or less filling out these forms so that you do see what is required, as well as at the time of bidding, at the time of proposal, excuse me, the department will actually send over the package that they would be requesting. And so for you all, it might be a little bit different, but just please do use this as a guide as to when forms and compliance requirements are actually due. So please do see that there. And then I believe the next slide is the required vendor documentation for payment. And so through this, there's a couple of things to ensure that you will get paid by the city of Los Angeles in terms of documentation. So these forms here, or these requirements here, are items that our accounting team needs to actually punch into our accounting system so that we can actually cut a check. And mind you, for the small business community here, we would highly encourage that you have all of these forms and your forms ready at the time of contracting. So first and foremost, as a city, we always do require insurance for the contract. At the time of bid, and when you open the proposal, you should actually see as an attachment on RAMP or in the RFP package or RFQ or RFX package what the insurance requirements are for that specific opportunity. And so that is actually called a Form 146. Please be on the lookout for that, and then through that you can actually work with your insurance broker to make sure that you do have the proper coverage necessary to compete on that project, and that will be required at the time of bidding and contracting. So what we've actually linked here is the CAO risk management website, as well as I believe their instructions on just the insurance process as a whole. Please do look at that link, and there are additional links there, and also instructions for your insurance broker to upload documents called it's a program called Quick Comply, but all of that information is on there. The next part that is actually extremely crucial to your doing business with the city of Los Angeles is registering and making sure your business tax registration certificate is up to date and paid for. If you're doing business within the city of Los Angeles as well as with the city of Los Angeles, you will actually be required to have a BTRC, as we call it, business tax registration certificate. We've gone ahead and we put the link for the BTRC website here. Please do that and keep it up to date, and make sure that if you are make sure that you're paying your taxes, as well as there are exemptions for small businesses for a certain gross amount threshold. So please become familiar with that, and also contact the Office of Finance. The information is listed there. And if you do not have one, I highly recommend getting a BTRC as soon as possible so that you can if you're looking to do business with the city of Los Angeles, please have that on hand. Additionally, we do need a Form W-9 from the IRS, so please do get your W-9 so that at the time of contracting, we do need that to once again get you started onto our accounting system. So we went ahead and put the link there. As well as we do sometimes for construction projects, we do have a performance bond that is necessary, or there may be a letter of credit that is required. And so we've gone ahead and we linked Merriweather and Williams, who is a insurance and bonding company that actually does a lot of the the performance bonding, as well as potentially the letter of credit stuff for the city of Los Angeles. And so please go ahead and click on that link. And I think I saw Pace, a couple of people from Pace here today, but we have business source centers that the city of Los Angeles contracts with through the Economic Workforce Development Department. They are a wealth of resources, as well as there are business counselors at these business source centers that can help you register on RAMP, as well as some of the business centers or business source centers can actually give some level of technical assistance, and we will have future webinars that can focus on this aspect at a later time, but we just put one down for Pace for now, just so that you can see some of the programs that they are running, as well as something that Pace and Merriweather and Williams is doing is something called the Contract Finance Assistance Program, which is I believe, an access to capital program. Please do get familiar with those things, and that's another topic that we will deep dive into at a later time. But access to capital, that's another thing that we think that small businesses should actually have a very good understanding of, as well as it is a resource resource that assists, the small business community in being able to compete with a lot of our city projects. So with that, could you go to the next slide? And finally, we're also attaching these standard provisions for the City of Los Angeles. This is actually a document that was created by the City Attorney's Office, just as a general terms and conditions of what you can expect as a business in doing business with us, the city. Please do go through this standard provision document to really see not only it's the contract compliance requirements, but also what are some of these other provisions in this standard in this document that for example, there's warranty information, there's data security information, a couple of other things that you as a vendor are signing up to kind of agree to by doing business with us. So please, please, please get familiar with this document as well. And so with that, next slide. And so we know that certifications, kind of what are they? Certifications are a way that you as a business can market yourselves, as well as they denote what type of owner, owner or size of business you are. And so, albeit this is a cursory, just kind of overview of certification, we've gone ahead and we've placed links that would be helpful for you to find out more about certifications. But once again, on Ramp, you are able to initiate the certification process for the certifications that the Bureau of Contract Administration, which is the department that handles certifications. You'll find all of that information there as well. But in short, certification is used to market your business as a XBE, and fill in the blank there, whether you're a minority, a woman, a small business, a local business, disabled veteran business, airport concessions, disabled or disadvantaged business enterprise, disadvantaged business enterprise. There are a total of 13 different types of certifications that the City of Los Angeles processes and or recognizes. So please do get familiar there with the ones that, that actually pertain to your business. And so these certifications are also used to help participate in the city's business inclusion program, which is something that we have built into RAMP, where the prime contractors go ahead and they send out a good faith effort outreach to the subcontractors, as well as the local business preference program, which if you are a local business within the county of Los Angeles, and let alone we just changed our ordinance here to reflect, ordinance and charter to reflect, the city preference, or the city local, which is if your business is within the City of Los Angeles, you will actually get additional bonus points there, either as a bid preference or as a, if it's an RFP, a point preference. And so, and finally, another thing we do want to stress is the private sector can utilize these certifications to achieve their DEIA goals, their diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility goals. And just very short, in short, the government is prohibited in the state of California through Proposition 209. Won't get into too much of the details, but we cannot have race or gender conscious programs. And therefore, the private sector, on the other hand, can actually create programs to actually say, hey, I want to use 25% of my contracting spend for small or diverse businesses, minority women businesses. And so for us as a governmental agency, we just want to make sure that we're opening up our certifications to the regional area, the regional businesses, so that the private sector can actually utilize public data, which we have certification information, and you can market your business that way, and be out there on Ramp. So and once again, certifications, just one last disclaimer, certifications are not they do not lead into a contract per se. Just because you are a XBE does not mean you will get a contract, but more or less it is a way, once again, to market your business and let both prime contractors as well as private sector know who you are as a business, as well as for the city, the only preference that we can give is for local businesses. So please do register, as well as apply for the certifications that fit for your business. So with the next slide, please. So we've gone ahead and left a couple of links here, which is the Bureau of Contract Administration, once again, the department that handles the certifications for the city. This is where you can read up about the small business enterprise, local small business, emerging business enterprise, local business preference program. There's a lot of them. Once again, we are well aware, as well as we left the link for the email for the certification group down below if you do have questions there. So I believe we do have a few other certification resources because we know that this is it's a topic that a lot of small businesses are interested in. We left the link for the California Department of General Services, where you can apply for a SBE Micro, and a DVBE certification. And once again, we recognize that certification here at the city. If you register with the state, we will go ahead and verify. And if you go onto Ramp and click on those certifications, the city of LA will actually verify your certification with the state of California. And then additionally, we also have CUCP, which is California Unified Certification Program, for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program there, as well as a couple of actually very helpful tables and infographics, BCA certification infographic, which kind of goes over what the types of certifications are, and maybe that will be a clarifying document for you to know what certifications fit for your business, and ultimately where to get certified as well. That's another resource that we've linked. And so we are running short on time. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Monica, and then go from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. So we did obviously cover a lot of information, and that's why we did link throughout the presentation, and we'll distribute the resource file. But just to give you, again, more resources to be aware about, attend the Office of Procurement webinar. So our office puts on the monthly RAMP registration webinar, as we mentioned, which is a step-by-step on how to get registered onto RAMP, how to build your business profile. So definitely look out for that, and feel free to participate. We hope to see you in attendance for any of those, and just to get more an idea of what RAMP looks like in this space. And then our small business webinar series, as we mentioned, it's going to be 6 series total for the next few months. And the next one is going to be based on construction. So we're hoping to have you in attendance as well. We're going to have some subject matter experts for construction just talk about their small business programs based on, their department operations, and how they're creating opportunities to make construction more accessible to you as a small business owner. And then we're looking to have another presentation on commodities and personal services. And in the future, feel free to let us know what you want to see as a small business owner, what would be more helpful, as we build out our resources here, and as we build out the Office of Procurement in general, what would be most helpful to make this more accessible for you, and to be more transparent in terms of participating with the city when it comes to contracting. And then additional City of LA resources. Daniel mentioned the business source centers. They do put on workshops and webinars regularly, in person and virtually, and they do ask the business community to participate in their panels and whatnot. So feel free to look at that. We have linked the two PACE and New Economics for Women that we generally work with business source centers, and they are a good source of resource for technical assistance and general business consulting as well. So definitely check that out. And then we've also linked the networking programs here, Accessing LA, put on by Board of Public Works and Mayor's Office, and Small Business Academy, put on by BCA and Proprietary. So definitely look into that to see if that's something you want to participate in. But for the most part, we do encourage you to register onto RAMP to get more of this information through our newsletter. So you'll be able, once you do register on RAMP, you could opt in for the newsletter information, and you'll get information and updates on this webinar, the registration webinar, and any updates from our RAMP partners, as well as they are advertising on there. So be on the lookout for that, and we definitely encourage registering. And the next slide is just a culmination of some of the resources we talked about throughout the presentation. We have our RAMP support page, and adding NICS codes and licenses manual. We kind of did a live demo of that, but this is going to be a thorough manual on how to do that if you have questions. And then our vendor support email, support@rampla.org, if you have technical questions on signing on to RAMP. The contracting requirements checklist that Daniel went over. And then we do have some success videos, some testimonials that we want to share with you all, just from the perspective of vendors and other small businesses who have worked with us in the past, and just some of their insight. And then, of course, the resource file that we have referenced. There's additional PDFs and files that you can definitely take a look at and research in terms of what we talked about throughout this webinar. With that, thank you for joining us. I know we're running short on time and we've answered as much as we can in the chat and Q&A. If there's anything that we didn't get to, we will definitely email for any distribution of the questions. Otherwise, feel free to contact us at Ramp Support for any specific questions or any assistance with that. And then the next slide does have more of our information. We do have social media, so we're looking to get more involved in there to, kind of market most of our opportunities, some of our partnerships, and just the different programs going on for the Office of Procurement, but citywide as well. So be on the lookout for that. They're all linked here under LA City Procurement. So if you want to subscribe to that and get notified of the information that way, that's another way to reach us as well. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and hopefully this was helpful in terms of what we covered and the resources that we will provide again. So we're glad that hopefully we were able to distribute at least some helpful information to the small business community looking to do participating in contract and looking to work with us here. But thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you.